Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So, Naoya Inoue and Marlon Tapales, right? More than likely, these two are going to be getting together and unifying their titles, the WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA, which would be an undisputed distinction, sometime around December, is what it sounds like. Now we know Inoue is coming off of a big win against Stephen Fulton, where he stopped him in the 8th round back on the 25th of July. And when it comes to Marlon Tapales, look, he fought Marlon Akhmadaliev and went to a decision where he was able to win a split decision. And don't get me wrong, everyone knows about Inoue. Everyone's high on Inoue. Inoue is the some people argue that he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in boxing right now. I'm not sure I want to go that far, but what I do want to say is, it's hard to go against a guy like Inoue because of his amateur experience, his ability to evolve his style as a professional, and the fact that this man has bricks in both hands. He's an extremely great fighter, explosive fighter, fast fighter, and has a great ring IQ. This guy Tapales is a strong fighter, Filipino fighter, southpaw, comfortable with staying in the pocket, catching punches and countering, and he has a very deceptive left hand. The problem is Tapales gets hit too much for me, and he can't sit there and try to get cute in the pocket with Inoue. Okay, I just don't think that's going to work. When you look at the fact that a guy like Tapales, and you talk about the KO percentages, he's sitting at 50%. You know, out of 37 fights, he's won 19 by KO. He's had 3 losses, and 2 of those losses were by KO. So he's got some pop, but he's not pop like Inoue. And when you talk about Inoue, now you're talking about 25 wins, 22 by KO, 88% KO ratio. As far as the height, you know, Inoue standing at 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach. When you talk about Tapales, he's 5'4" with a 65-inch reach, so pretty similar in that area. The difference in this fight, to me, is just going to be the pedigree of the fighters. I don't think this fight honestly goes past 6, because Tapales likes to sit there and try to be cute and counterpunch from that southpaw stance. And we all know the kryptonite for a southpaw is a very clever orthodox fighter with the big backhand right. And Inoue has a big left hand and a big right hand. I just think once he starts landing on Tapales, I think Tapales is going to sit there and fold. Now, for anyone who thinks otherwise, I would advise that you go and take a look at some of the fights, in particular the highlights of Tapales as he fought Marlon Akhmadaliev, like I just said. And you're going to see some things there that's going to get your attention and let you know, okay, a guy who fights like this will do well up against a lot of fighters, but when you get against someone like Inoue, it just doesn't work out unless he can land something that Inoue doesn't see, and he can hurt him. But at the end of the day, Tapales is getting his work in right now with the former world champion Naoya. They've been sparring here in the United States and just, you know, trying to get ready for that super bantamweight champion Naoya Inoue, right? That unification, that showdown is something that they want with the Japanese star, and they would like to have it happen sooner than later, but more than likely around December. Now, you remember after Inoue beat Stephen Fulton, you know, Tapales formally announced his intention to fight him when he jumped in the ring and basically said, look, I want to fight you. So now, Tapales, man, is really trying to put together a solid game plan, because they know it's going to take a lot of work just to put a dent in a guy like Inoue, because no one's really been able to do it. But the negotiations, it seems like they're working through that right now to actually sit down with members of Inoue's team to try to get this off the ground. I know they got a guy in Sandman Boxing and Sean Gibbons of MP Promotions, and they really want to try to get this fight off for a skirmish in December. Now, I'm telling you right now, Tapales is trying to do his best to promote it, because he's all over social media talking about how he ramped up his training in the U.S., sparring with different former world champions. And he was rumored to have been in Vietnam, out there training and doing some work as well. So I'll tell you what, with Inoue and whoever he fights, it's going to be a big, one of the bigger boxing matches of the year. And I just don't think at this point in time, when you have a guy like Inoue who's, beaten 25 people, 22 of them by knockout, I just think it's going to be very, very difficult for this guy, Tapales, to do anything unless he can just land that shot that Inoue doesn't see. But Inoue's not a reckless fighter. Inoue's not a guy who forces things. Inoue makes the right reads. And what he showed us against Stephen Fulton is, one, his power is real, but two, he can set up shots. He can set traps. Because that body work he was putting in, that resulted in Stephen Fulton kind of letting his guard down and starting to focus more on the body shots. And then, boom, he comes upstairs with the big shot and tranquilizes him. So that being said, if you ask me, I don't think it goes past 6. I think Inoue, although people keep talking about, hey, look, man, he keeps moving up in division after division. I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's just, for Inoue, I think the sky's the limit for him. I really do. When you sit here and you take a look at what's going on at 122 pounds, and you take a look at what's out there, there's not really much there for Inoue as far as competition at 122 pounds. I mean, once he clipped Fulton, I was like, that's it. Who else is there that can really give him a challenge? If he fights Tapales, he becomes the Undisputed. And what you talking about, Neri? After Neri, we're going to try to put Goodman in there? Hove Hanessian, Plania, Casemiro? I mean, come on now. And Casemiro can fight. I just don't think those guys can handle him. And then he had to bubble up to 126 pounds, 130 pounds. Then things start getting a little bit interesting. Because a guy like Inoue, let's say he bubbled up to 126 and fought a Wood, or he fought, Vargas. Those are tough fights for him, especially Vargas. Vargas can fight. But O'Shaquie Foster showed us with a guy like Ray Vargas, a guy with a high IQ, good defense, good offense, good ring generalship, although shorter in height and less length as far as his reach, can beat those tall guys. But I don't know. Once you start getting to 126 and 130, I think, Inoue could be getting in over his head because, they have weight division for a reason. But you just don't know. You say skills pay the bills, but some people say, look, that's true. And a good, skilled big man beats a good, skilled little man. But, the argument to that is, okay, what about Evander Holyfield? What about David Haye? What about Usyk? What about Mike Tyson? Those were highly skilled little men who fought highly skilled big men, and they still tranquilized them. So even for me, I don't really buy into it that much, depending on the boxer or athlete that we're talking about. At the end of the day, Marlon Tapales versus Naoya Inoue for the WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA gold could be on the line. They're trying to work through it right now, get the discussions going to have that fight happen in December. And if you ask me, I just think Inoue, listen, I'm always talking about the 4-for-1 deal. And what I mean by the 4-for-1 deal is 4 belts, 1 fight. A 3-for-1 deal, 3 belts, 1 fight. A 2-for-1 deal, 2 belts, 1 fight. Don't sit here and get mad at Naoya Inoue or even Tapales, because these guys are looking for the 4-for-1 deal, 2-for-1 deals. In this case, it happened to be a 4-for-1 deal because you bring the two of them together, you get all 4 belts on the line. And when Naoya wins those belts, I think he'll drop them and move up to the next level. And now we got a lot of attention on Canelo for what he's been able to do, moving up weight divisions and making history. We talk about Pacquiao, De La Hoya, Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Shane Mosley. There's so many fighters, Sugar Ray Leonard, fighters who've moved up multiple weight divisions and not become undisputed, but even Terrence Crawford, but to go on and just win titles. And Naoya Inoue seems to be on his way to continuing to just win titles, become undisputed, and seems like he can do whatever the hell he wants. But at some point, he's going to plateau. I'm not sure what weight class he's going to where he plateaus, but I'm telling you, I don't see it happening anytime soon, especially if his next move is a 126. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Hard for me to go against Naoya Inoue. I got him stopping this guy, Marlon Tapales, in 6 rounds. Hopefully the fight gets off. Y'all keep cool in the breeze.